Today we are going to read Chapter 5, which is our last chapter of Freckle Juice. Before we begin reading, let's recap chapters 1 through 4. So in this story, Andrew Marcus, our main character, really wanted freckles. He saw them on his friend Nikki Lane and knew that if he had them, he wouldn't have to wash behind his ears, on his neck, or his face because his mom wouldn't notice any dirt if he had freckles. So he was asking Nikki about them one day in school, and a girl named Sharon, who Andrew didn't really like too much because she thought she knew everything, told him she had a secret recipe for Freckle Juice, and if he gave her 50 cents, she would give him the recipe. So Andrew decided to give her the money, and he went home one day to make the Freckle Juice. The Freckle Juice was kind of gross. It had a speck of onion, olive oil, wine vinegar, grape juice, lemon juice, mayonnaise, ketchup. It was a mixture of a bunch of different gross things if you put them all together. But Andrew made it. It smelled horrible, but he drank it down, and he got really sick from it and ended up having to stay home from school. But it was time for him to go back to school. So at the end of chapter 4, he had said he was going to go do something. So let's figure out what Andrew was going to do. After breakfast, Andrew raced back to his bedroom. He opened his desk drawer and looked for a brown magic marker. All he could find was a blue one. It was getting late. Blue would have to do. He put the magic marker in his lunchbox and headed for school. He stopped 2 blocks before he got there. He studied his reflection in a car window. Okay, let's look at the word reflection. Okay, your reflection is the image looking back at you. So if you were looking in the mirror, what you'd see in the mirror, that's your reflection. So here in the story, we see Andrew's reflection in the car window there. Then he took out the magic marker and decorated his whole face and neck with blue dots. Maybe they didn't look like Nikki Lane's freckles, but they sure looked like something. Andrew waited until the second bell rang. Then he hurried to his class and sat down. He took out a book and tried to read it. He heard a lot of whispering, but he didn't look up. Miss Kelly snapped her fingers. "Let's settle down, children. Stop chattering." Everybody giggled. "What's so funny? Just what is so funny? Lisa, can you tell me the joke?" Lisa stood up. "It's Andrew, Miss Kelly. Just look at Andrew Marcus." "Stand up, Andrew. Let me have a look at you," Miss Kelly said. Andrew stood up. "Good heavens, Andrew. What have you done to yourself?" "I grew freckles, Miss Kelly. That's what." Andrew knew his blue dots looked silly, but he didn't care. He turned toward Sharon and stuck out his tongue. Sharon made a frog face at him. Miss Kelly took a deep breath. "I see," she said. "You may sit down now, Andrew. Let's get on with our morning work." At recess, Nikki Lane turned around and said, "Who ever heard of blue freckles?" Andrew didn't answer him. He sat in class all day with his blue freckles. A couple of times Miss Kelly looked at him kind of funny, but she didn't say anything. Then at 2 o'clock, she called him to her desk. "Andrew," Miss Kelly said, "how would you like to use my secret formula for removing freckles?" Her voice was low, but not so low that the class couldn't hear. Let's look at the word formula. A formula is a list of ingredients for something, kind of similar to a recipe. So the formula would be a list of different ingredients you would need to make something. "For free?" Andrew asked. "Oh, yes," Miss Kelly said, "for free." Andrew scratched his head and thought it over. Miss Kelly took a small package out of her desk. She handed it to Andrew. "Now don't open this until you get to the boys' room. Remember, it's a secret formula, okay?" "Okay," Andrew said. He wanted to run to the boys' room, but he knew the rules. No running in the halls. So he walked as fast as he could. He couldn't wait to see what was in the package. Could there really be such a thing as freckle remover? As soon as he was inside the boys' room, he unwrapped the package. There was a note. Andrew read it. It said, "Turn on water, wet magic freckle remover, and rub into face. Rinse. If magic freckle remover does not work first time, try again. 3 times should do the job. Miss Kelly." Ha! Miss Kelly knew. She knew all the time. She knew his freckles weren't really freckles, but she didn't tell. Andrew followed Miss Kelly's directions. The magic freckle remover formula smelled like lemons. Andrew had to use it 4 times to get his freckles off. Then he wrapped it up and walked back to his classroom. Miss Kelly smiled. Well, Andrew, I see it worked. Yes, Miss Kelly, it sure did. You look fine now, Andrew. You know, I think you're a very handsome boy without freckles. You do? Yes, I do. Miss Kelly, Nicky Lane called out, raising his hand and waving it all around. What is it, Nicky? Miss Kelly asked. Could I use your magic freckle remover? Could I, Miss Kelly? I hate my freckles. I hate every single one of them. Andrew couldn't believe it. How could Nicky hate his freckles? They were so neat. Nicky, Miss Kelly said, Andrew didn't look good with freckles, but you look wonderful. I'd hate to see you without them. They're part of you. So I'm going to put away this magic formula. I hope I never have to use it again. Well, Andrew thought, she'd never have to use it on him. He was through with freckles. When the class lined up to go home, Andrew heard Sharon whisper to Nicky, I know how to get rid of them. Get rid of what? Nicky asked. Your freckles. You do? Sure. The secret recipe for removing freckles has been in my family for years. That's how come none of us have any. I'll sell it to you for 50 cents. Then Sharon walked up alongside Andrew. Before Andrew could say a word, Sharon made a super-duper frog face just for him. Okay, that's the end of our story. So let's go over our story elements. We have our 5 main characters, okay, that we had throughout the whole story. We have Andrew. He was our big main character. We have Sharon. We have Nicky. And Miss Kelly. And Andrew's mom. Now, we've talked about that we've had 2 settings throughout the whole story, okay? And 2 main settings. So the setting would be school and Andrew's house. And then our main problem of the story was that Andrew wanted freckles. And that was the consistent problem throughout the whole story. There was some other smaller problems, like when Andrew got sick, but the main huge problem in the story is that Andrew wants freckles. Okay, and then our solution, how the problem was solved. Well, Andrew tried Freckle Juice. That didn't work. He didn't grow any freckles. Then he tried to draw them on with marker. That didn't work because first, they weren't the same color, and second, they looked silly. So he really never was able to grow freckles, but Andrew realized he didn't need freckles. So he realized he didn't need freckles. He was fine just the way he is. He didn't need to change himself at all. Okay, so that's the end of our story. You're going to go answer some questions on this story and focus on our 2 vocabulary words, which were reflection and formula. Good luck.